This is chapter 2, day 2 homework. The first answers I'm going to call are 10 through 17. 10, I'm probably going to draw up on the board, but your answer should be 0.3574. Number 11, 0.2486. Number 12 is 0.4418. Number 13, 0.0023. Number 14 is 0.0655. Number 15, 0.9522. Number 16 is 0.0706. And number 17 is 0.9222.
When you said you're going to explain number 10?
Yes. Just the answer itself will not count as much. For all of this homework, and this is why I'm choosing to do this now, based off what I saw, I would need to see the graph written out, the graph drawn correctly, the numbers that you found for each z, whether you added or subtracted, that kind of thing. Every single piece of that counts as points. Not drawing the little curve would count off a whole lot on the test if you didn't do it for all your problems. So number 10 says to the right of what?
C equals 1.92.
And then to the left of
Negative.
point what? 44? Should have drawn those better words farther away, but whatever. Alright, so if I asked you to do this problem and covered up this half, could you answer this problem or this half? Yes. If I covered up this half and only asked you to do this, could you do this? So that's one way to do it is, so when z is negative 0.44, what is my area?
0.9726.
And when my z is 1.92, what is my area?
0.0274. Or wait. Wait, no, sorry.
I don't know if the other one's right.
No, the other one actually.
Oh yeah, that's not something negative.
I looked at the wrong.
And then
Okay, sorry. This one is what?
0.3300.
And this one is
0.9276. Or 9726.
9726. Alright, everybody with me there then? Am I right now? Right. Alright, so two ways I can do this. Number one would be find them separately. So what is the area of this tail? That should not be hard. What is the area of that tail? Because I want it to the left and it is. What do I need to do with this number to get this area? So 1 minus, which gives me,
0.0274.
but I want the total area, so I just do what with them? The other way to do this is find what you don't want, which is this area. How do I find the area between two things? How do I find the area between two numbers?
Bigger one minus this one.
The area of the larger one is the area of the small one.
So that's what I don't want. So how do I see what I want? And either of those would give you the same answer. It's just how you chose to get there. And I purposely did not address that one because I was curious to see how many people could get through it and how many people couldn't. But that's as much as it would be able to trip you up with these kind of problems. But every piece of that has to be shown to get credit. Like if you just wrote 0.3574, I would probably count off like 75% of the points for that problem. So the second worksheet think I just want to.
Can you do either 14 or 16?
Yeah. Let me start by just going over answers. And then I'll go back and work a couple. Now, y'all are going to have to help me because the worksheet I'm looking at is, I think, the same thing, just like jumbled up. Now, what are the 1 through 6 that I had y'all do? 4 and 5?
5.
Just 5? The answer for 5 is z equals 1.84. Then what was the next one I had? Did I have you do 9 something?
9A.
9A. So the overall answer to 9A is 0.9772. But going through the pieces of it, you should write P parentheses X is greater than 180. Show your work converting an X of 180 to a Z, and you get a Z of what? -2. So then you write P parentheses Z is greater than -2. Draw your graph, shade it. You have to do 1 minus 0.0228, and your answer is 0.9772. So I'll talk through all of them that detailed, and then I'll go back through and actually like write out a couple of them. What's the next problem you did?
10B.
Is that between 58 and 63 years old? Oh, dang it. These answers are in a different place. Which was that? How many of these did I have you do? 3?
10B, 14, and 16.
Yeah, okay. Let's just do these together, and then I'll write them all the way out. 10, 14, 16. Okay. Because based off of what I saw, y'all need to see these written out anyway because people are not writing out the way they need to. So 10B, what's the very first thing I'm going to start with? Circling all the stuff. My X bar is what?
56.
Yeah, you're looking at a different problem.
56.
56, right? Okay, 56. It says normally distributed. Your S is 4. And then I'm going to write what?
58 less than X less than 60.
My next step is I'm going to have to do what?
Find Z.
Convert these to a Z. So my Z for 58, I'm doing what minus what?
58 minus 56. Number 4.
Oh, 6. Well, that's an easy one. What does that one give me?
5. And then 63 minus 56 over 4. 1.7.
So I've found my new ones. So I'm going to take this and rewrite it in terms of Z instead. So now instead of 58, I write what?
60.
And I always write it. Why do I always choose to write it that way? Because it's a what score? And our yellow sheet has it to 2 decimals. Now, am I going to cut off because you don't put that 0? No. But out of habit, I always try to keep them the same. Both of these are positive. What's my next step?
Graphs.
Areas.
And either some people are going to go straight to sketching it, and some people are going to go straight to the chart. Either one's fine. So there's my 0. Both of these lines are where?
To the right.
So I'm showing that I'm shading there. When Z equals 0.50, your area is what? Say it again.
0.69.
When Z is 1.75, it's what?
9599.
So I now need to do what with those?
Subtract 2 or subtract 1.
which gives me
12684.
which means that if I were to ask you to write this out, you would say, probability that a randomly selected CEO will have between probability that a randomly selected CEO will have an age between 58 and 63 years old is about 26.84%. All right, what was the next one? 14. Did I leave it at middle 50%? I thought we did that one in class.
14.
Oh, so your 14 is,
Middle 80%.
what does it start with? Like, what's the first words of it?
It's the average price of a new home.
Okay. Average price of new home. Oh, that's convenient. I've got these answers. What is your? I want to start writing this one out anyway. What information does the problem give me? As far as what? What is S? 1500. I see what in the problem? What word? Normal. And then it also tells me
Middle 80%.
so now I go to drawing it. So from here to here is middle 80%, which means what percent is here? And what I'm mainly concerned with is that means what is here?
10 minutes.
So when I look up the closest z-value to an area of 0.1000, I get a z-value of what? Negative what?
1.2.
So this is negative 1.28. What is this one?
1.28.
Technically that's looking up what area to get that one. 0.9 because 0.10 is here, 0.9 is there. But you don't have to look up both. There's 10% here, so to the left is 90%. So technically looking up 90% would give you that, but if this is negative, this is the positive one. So then when you're typing in when you're writing this out, I'm solving for an x this time. So what is my z for the lower?
Negative 1.2.
What is your standard deviation? What is your x bar? And this should give you a number a little bit less than that. These are backwards. This is 143 something, right? So when I do my upper, the only thing that's going to change is that I multiply it by positive 1.28 instead of negative. Which gives me 147,420. And then the last one I did has 2 parts, correct? Let's see, I'm looking at the right one. Okay. So part A says top 3%. I think I can talk through these after I've written out those. So top 3% would give you a z-value of what? So for part A, what is your z-value to get? So top 3% will top us here.
6179.
What is this z value?
1.8.
So when you look up the closest thing to
Is it
0.9700,
Is it not negative 1.8?
no, because it's over here.
Even though it's on our area and the negative side makes positive.
Here is your 0.
Closest to 0.97.
I thought we're looking for what makes.
Top.
Yeah, it's top. The top 3% is going to be way over there.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Right side.
Oh, I didn't. There isn't an
That's always to the left.
Yeah.
This is to the right. So to find the left, you do 1 minus to get that. And that's what you're looking at.
Okay.
Alright, and you get 1.88. 1.88 times 100 plus 400 gives you 588 is your answer.
Wait, so we don't look on our chart for what is the OK3 road or what is the.
Because you always have to use this to the left.
Okay.
And the same way as like if you shade to the right, you do 1 minus. If it's top, you do 1 minus. And then bottom 1.5% is actually what area? I always have people who miss this.
0.0150.
And I always have somebody who ends up accidentally doing 0.1500. And what is the closest z value to 0.0150? Negative 2 point what? And then negative 2.17 times 100 plus 400 gives us 183 is our answer.